This one is also about RVR. Here I'm going to cover some of the general questions and maybe kind of specific questions people have been asking, starting with realm balancing. What are we going to do to make sure that all the realms have the same numbers? Obviously, we can't. I mean, anyone who's played, whether it's Dark Age of Camelot or any other MMO that has used an RVR system, whether it's 3 realms or 2 realms, knows that it is impossible in these games to have an equal balance. I mean, going back to Air Warrior, the game that gave me the idea for tri-realm combat, even they couldn't balance it. So what are we going to do? Well, of course we're going to do some things. Like we did in Camelot, and like other games have done. We will give out incentives, reasons for people to play on the underdog side. We will also give the underdog side some other bonuses, not combat, oh gee, now they can hit twice as hard, but other reasons for the guys who are defending to, stay in that realm, on that server. We're going to try to make it more interesting for them to essentially lose. I mean, if you're having fun while you're losing because you're playing the game, and yeah, okay, maybe your places are getting burned down a little bit too often, but maybe it won't take you as long, for example, to rebuild them. Maybe your generation rate from the various mines are higher. There are other things we're going to do, but obviously we're going to take some steps. But no matter what, it's still up to the players. So, next item. Will there be siege equipment? Of course. It wouldn't be any fun to, take towers and keeps and, go after people's castles if you can't hurl giant flaming rocks at them. Maybe even giant flaming dwarves. But you're going to throw stuff at people. That's half the fun. So, expect a wide range of siege equipment and maybe some funny ones as well. So what else are we going to have? The battlegrounds. So people have asked, hey, you're going to have battlegrounds. We love the battlegrounds in Dark Age, and we like them in other games. Well, the only thing that I'll commit to, and again, I've said this before, is that there won't be anything instanced. There won't be anything level locked at the high levels. We want everyone to be able to get into the game. But yes, for the guys who are just coming into the game, we will have something set up so they can go and fight other players, so they can learn the game system, so they can, actually have some success before they go into the main game. What the levels essentially will be, or the time spent, however we, need to calculate it, obviously we don't know that now, but that's the only place that in the, regular game, that's going to happen. We do want to encourage new people to actually try this game once we get past all you backers. And one of the ways we can do that is when the game launches, obviously have an easy, introduction, or an easier introduction, other than just going out into the main RVR area and getting their heads handed to them by very experienced players. So what else are we going to do in RVR that I can talk about? Oh, bounty system, I've been asked. Okay, so now it gets a little more interesting. I like bounties. I like the idea of bounties. And I think we can do something kind of cool with it. So here's another slightly BSC idea. I've said that there's not going to be any corpse looting. And certainly you're not going to lose any items. I talked about another system which will replace that, which will allow our RVR players to succeed. And that's a larger update. But as part of that, what if when you kill another player, you get a piece of his or her soul? Now, is that player hurt by it? Sure. Is the player, is it like, oh God, and now I can't ever be strong again? Of course not. That would be dumb. But you gain something from this player. You gain something that, hey, maybe even your crafters can use. For example, if you have a piece of this person's soul, maybe when he's on the battlefield the next time, you kind of have a better idea where he is. Not, oh, I've got long range, because that would be silly. But maybe he shines a little bit brighter. Maybe when you're up close, so he knows. And of course, in that kind of duality I like, you, as the player who had his soul taken, you know where your soul is, or that piece of your soul. And you might want to get it back. So maybe you put out a bounty on that player and on that soul piece that he can get, that other players, can get back to you. I think it's a very interesting idea. I wonder who suggested it. Scott?
Me?
We were at lunch and at the wonderful restaurant called Subway one day, and we were talking about things. Wasn't it you, Scott? I thought it was you.
I talked about debt.
Exactly. And Scott was talking about death. Come here, Scott.
What was
Come.
debt?
Debt. Yeah. Come here, Scott. Come on. See? This is Scott. Hello. And even though Scott is, the video guy right now and lead animator, he's contributed a lot, not only to this game, but he also was the guy who gave us the basic idea for formation crafting. And that's part of what makes CSE what it is. I want all of my guys and gals to suggest things, to come up with ideas, to get me and everyone else thinking sometimes in different directions. And this is a good example. So that's what we want to do. It's an idea. I think it's a really good one. Obviously, it has to be worked out. But the idea of being able to take a little bit of another player with you and use that, and then be able to give it to your crafters to make it into something cool, and maybe you'll get even more the next time you kill the same person, or maybe you can combine elements that you get from different realms, or the souls of different people from different realms. It opens a lot of really interesting possibilities, and it's certainly better than just looting a corpse and, oh gee, I found my little sack of cash, and oh, I have a weapon I can't use. Again, trying something different, maybe a little BSC. I like it. And for the people who are worried that, oh my God, you're going to go out and you're going to die and then you won't be able to play because somebody has your soul, again, that's not going to happen. That would be dumb. That would be the exact same thing as saying you could lose your items during RVR, which we're not saying. You can take something or get something from killing another player without necessarily harming that other player in any sort of substantial way, because that would discourage RVR when all we want to do is encourage it. So that's it for this update.